Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the
Sadly Relatable Podcast.
We back, baby!
Yay, yay!
Woo, 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 woo. I'm Ghaz. Welcome back, guys. Today, we have something special, which I'm actually excited for. We actually have our first guest at the studio.
So, can you guys guess who it is? Pause the video and
Wait,
comment down
what
below.
What are you on about this? It's on the title.
Oh.
She's like, you'll never know.
And she can be seen in the thumbnail as well. Okay, so I'd like to introduce you guys. You obviously all. I'm nervous.
Guys, bear with us. It's our first time having a guest properly, officially. So we're still getting used to it, especially even like the multiple cameras. There's technical difficulties going on. I can only hear her in one ear.
Yeah, so like right now it's a bit like, but we're going to make it work. So I'd like to introduce my best friend, Juwayria. And would you like to give us a little intro about yourself?
Hi guys, I am Juwayria. I'm sure you guys already know me because I'm like super famous. But I am a comedian, influencer, and everything in between. Yeah.
Woo. Yay, yay.
Do you know what? I think like you're one of the most requested people whenever we like ask.
I know. I genuinely watch you lots of podcasts, and I always see the comment section, and it's like, bring J.Ghaz, and I'm like, come in, guys.
Every time she watches our podcast, or she'll send me like a Snapchat of her watching our podcast, I'm like, oh, you actually watch my podcast?
Well, obviously.
Like, do you not get enough of me in real life?
No, shall I tell you what it is? It's because like when I speak to you guys, obviously individually off camera, it's like I don't get to see the side that is in the podcast, which is like opinions and stuff, and I just want to suss you out.
We're more time we're just taking the piss.
Yeah, it's not like a serious environment. Whereas you
sense.
guys speak about things that we wouldn't speak about normally. So I'm like, oh, that's that person's opinion.
Do you know what? I'm kind of bad because like a lot of my friends will sit and watch the podcast and they tell me I saw that episode. But I'm the type of person that if one of my friends came out with a podcast, like maybe the first few I'd sit through, but I ain't got time to like sit unless I'm really into it. Do you know what I mean?
But I guess it depends, innit? It depends.
Yeah.
That's why anytime...
Like I'd support post-share, but I just don't know if I can actually sit through the whole episodes.
That's true.
That's why anytime... Sorry, guys, we're getting a rerun of the first guest we had on our podcast, which is, if you don't remember, me sat there like this, and AYOUB and the guest just speaking the whole time, and I was like... So, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's why you're not allowed to speak.
Okay, I'm getting bullied on my
But
podcast.
so this is one of the first times, I think, or second time you've been on a podcast, right?
Yeah, so the first time I was doing a podcast with the BBC where I got to sit with a Hindu content creator, and we just spoke about the differences in our faiths and how we manage social media and how it affects us in our communities and so on and so forth. So I did that, I think it was 2019.
Where can we find that? I'd actually find that interesting.
So it was on the BBC website, but then it came off. But if you just type Just the Hijabi's BBC interview, it will come up on YouTube.
Okay.
It's
Sorry,
called...
I just started giggling.
Why?
Should I tell you why? Because...
No, I'm acting professional.
No, I know you very well, but you had your chilling voice on, and then you had your professional voice on, and then I think you clocked you had your professional voice on, so you switched it to your chilling voice.
Yeah, I just realised Nishma's got her best friend on the show, so this is what it's going to be like the whole time.
No,
Oh my God, you're totally not acting yourself right now. I can see it.
The thing is, yeah,
Just
look. I beg you, look at the autism. I'm squeezing my hand as I'm talking.
No, don't worry. Look, just chill, relax. You got this, girlfriend. So, I would like for the people that don't know you or don't follow you or know, you enough or know about your life to
Find out more.
find out more. Exactly. So, can you give us sort of a draw my life? So, maybe start from the beginning.
Oh.
Obviously, nothing you're not comfortable. You don't speak about anything that you're not comfortable speaking about, although it would be very juicy for us. But just start from the beginning. Talk us through your life, how you got involved in social media, and yeah.
Interesting. I was talking about this today on live, actually, so it's quite fresh in my brain. So I starting young. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really remember a lot of my childhood before the age of 15, and obviously we know that comes from childhood trauma that we all have and stuff. But there are like clippets that I remember and certain situations, and then obviously like conversations I have with my mom that will tell me certain things, and my sister and whatnot. So one thing about me, which is very interesting, is I have always had an emotional instability, imbalance in my brain. So this like always going to connect back to social media, innit, and why I ended up doing social media. So I was actually diagnosed with depression at 2, so as a little baby. Oh my God, it's making me nervous now.
Don't be nervous.
I didn't even know that was possible. Wow.
At 2. And how it came about is I would just cry all the time. So I was a really good baby. When I was a baby, I was really, really good. And then one day my mom said I just started crying and crying and crying. Like no matter what, someone looked at me.
Did anything happen in particular, or was it just out?
Literally nothing. Like literally, my mom said nothing. Like I think it was about 6 months to a year after I was born that I started like crying. Anyway, and then when I was a toddler, everything would make me cry. Like, and I think one of the neighbours called social services or something, and they did they investigated and everything. They were like, "There's nothing wrong with this child. Like, she's not in danger or anything." And then they referred me to a child psychologist, and yeah, they diagnosed me with depression. Now, I think personally that it was a misdiagnosis, and I think I had signs of autism. But when we were growing up, unless you were like low function in autism, you wasn't going to get diagnosed much.
Do you know what's quite like? I guess it's a good thing now, but back then it was so hard for people to be diagnosed with autism, like in any kind of regard, whether it's ADHD and all these different things that people were suffering with. I don't know. I feel like they just wouldn't let people pass.
I remember our mum like fighting to get our little brother diagnosed. Like she was kept going back and forth with the doctors. Like there's something wrong with my child. Like I've had 2 other children. I kind of know the difference, and it took her like literally years. And then when he finally got diagnosed, I think it's bittersweet because people expect you to be like so sad about it, but I guess my mum would have felt a bit of relief, like we have an answer. And I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this who have been in a similar situation will understand that relief. And
100%.
But that's so interesting. I've never heard of a baby getting diagnosed with depression.
That's why that's why I genuinely think it's autism. And obviously, like leading to what AYOUB said, it's because there wasn't enough research. And when people think of neurodiversity, they always think of boys. So when you hear an ADHD person with ADHD, first thing you think of is a boy.
You know, even when I was younger, I used to always think ADHD meant they were angry kid. Like
So
the naughty bully at school who's got ADHD.
I was watching, doing some research about it today, and it's because girls are better at masking it. Because we're told that we're supposed to act a certain way and be a certain way. So what we'll do is we'll literally mask it and hide it and suffer more internally. Whereas boys will act out and they'll show aggression and like, even though we do have signs of that as well, it's just girls are better at hiding it, and boys just show it and they don't really care.
Okay,
That's
sense.
why it's easier to diagnose boys, and a lot of girls do get misdiagnosed for BPD and bipolar disorder, which is kind of sad. And I just want to touch back on what you said. You said that even though you think it was a misdiagnosis, let's say they were diagnosing babies with depression, it just shows, you know how people are like, oh, get up, like, be happy, look what you should be grateful for, like, bro,
baby hasn't even experienced life yet. And it's
exactly.
depressed.
That's showing chemical imbalance in your brain, and that's why it really annoys me. The people that are like, "Oh, you should be so happy. Why are you depressed?"
I feel like them misdiagnosing it makes more sense, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't know unless obviously I go back and see my all my medical records and sit down and like go through it properly. And then obviously like I'm doing the autism test. I've been like putting it off for ages because it's so expensive. It's like $3,000, and on the NHS you're waiting years. Like, what did someone say to you the other day?
10 years on an ADHD waiting list for the NHS.
But you know what's sad about that? That's something that can change someone's life. Just them knowing the answer, not even seeking help or anything. Just knowing that you are wired a certain way because of certain things will help you better your way of living. And like, even I have a friend recently who was telling me about wanting to get a test for ADHD, and it was like a year or two for like
That's
just to
nothing.
Just to talk with them about what you're feeling.
That's literally nothing. The waiting list is...
There's, like I said, 10 years, but it's definitely a feeling of... I don't know how to explain it. It makes you feel... I don't know how to explain it. It's like you feel better about yourself, and in turn you can like navigate how to do better for yourself and your life, if that makes sense. When you realise, oh, this is what it is. I'm not just a bad person, a lazy person. I'm not just like, I don't listen, or I don't focus, or I don't care enough. It just makes you're able to, like I said, navigate how to become the better version of yourself. So that's why I'd say if you do display any signs of anything, it's best to get diagnosed, because you just...
But the thing is, I feel like, because now a lot of people are more aware of it, right? We have social media, we have so much information given to us, and especially on TikTok, I feel like there's been this ongoing thing of I see ADHD videos 24/7.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are realizing they're dealing with certain things. It's going to make the waiting lists 10 times longer because now so many more people are trying to find out what's wrong with them. And that's where really having money or having private healthcare really comes into benefit, which is kind of sad because some people probably never find out.
Yeah, that
100%.
is so sad.
And I feel like, sorry, I lost
Do you want to
my
go
thought
back
process.
to sorry, because what we've done.
No, I know.
We've stopped.
I know.
We've taken a chunk out and we've given our opinions on it.
Yeah.
that's how
No,
it's
it's
meant to
alright. I
happen.
like
No,
that.
I know, I do wanna do
it's
that,
good.
but-
It's good because it's like building like blocks to a big building. Yeah. So
We've just given our opinions on your life.
no, 100%. So what happened was then, going back to obviously the timeline, is I was like the troubled child. So I was the child that, and obviously my mum is Skinner, she was a single mother. So there was only so much she could do to get it to like accommodate me and help me. And she would always like prioritize me. So for example, like if she would go on holiday, like she would take my sisters to my auntie's house, but she'd take me to my nan's, or she'd take me with her. Because like I needed that extra care, that extra attention. So my mum did I feel like my mum kind of knew that.
Are you the middle child? Sorry to cut you off.
Second, not
okay.
middle, we're four. So
Oh, there's 4, okay.
yeah, so me and my younger sister shared the middle. We're like, I'm the middle. Yeah, I'm second child. And then, anyway, let's not touch too much on that. But then what happened to me was I got to around 13 and my hormones started to kick in, right? And that sadness turned to anger, but like rage, like almost like
I hate the
ticking
world.
time bomb. No, it's like a ticking time bomb, like
Did anything set you off? Like,
everything. Look at me weird, I'll fight you. Talk to me weird, I'll fight you. And it was just because I was so misunderstood that I didn't know how to regulate my emotions and been like, okay, this is what's happened. This is the emotion that goes with that. And I feel like I'm still kind of like that now, but
You're working
I'm
on
better.
it. Yeah, you're working
much
on it.
better. And I feel like it only started getting better when I started to say to myself, maybe I'm autistic.
Yeah.
Like Nisra knows this, like a lot of the time I come across rude, but I genuinely don't mean it.
She doesn't so there's been scenarios and situations, and this is why I feel like, and I don't know if you like it when I say this, but I feel like people's perception of you is very much that angry girl on social media, because I feel like you don't take shit from anyone. Do you get it? So what happens is if people do try like play with you or mess with you, you will call them out. And I feel like people do have an opinion of you as in like she's very
problematic.
But and I always try to say, and I understand why they might think that. I get it from like little tiny things, but it annoys me so much because I know the real you, and I know that you have the softest heart, and like deep down, I know that out of I think all the people I know, you are like the most kind-hearted, selfless person that I know. I'm not gonna lie. And no, what like
I'll be honest, like
bombastic side eye.
from an outside perspective, I kind of understand that, because I felt like I learned more about you seeing your relationship with Nisrin and like how much you'd done for her, and then I started seeing little things, even just how you are sometimes in their moments of like, you telling me your story about how you don't like people not eating and stuff like that. Like you have that caring side to you to really be like, oh, this and that. And you pick up on those things, you start to realize someone's characteristics. But you can never really tell that unless you spent time around them, which is kind of sad.
So what I was saying, I had a point to make. What were you saying
Sorry.
again? Oh yeah, so people I think might, not everyone, but I'm saying a few people, like obviously we have certain stories that we're not going to give on here,
obviously.
so that's why I can say that. I'm not just saying like, everyone thinks you're so problematic.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like that's what I said. I said like Nisrin would know. Do you get it?
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So there's been certain scenarios where like someone might have come out and been like, oh, like that was a bit rude, or that upset me and hurt my feelings. And I've literally seen like firsthand Jay being like shocked, like what do you mean, like what do you mean it hurt someone's feelings? Whereas if someone was to confront someone who had done something rude or said something rude, they'd be like, no, it's not rude, what do you mean? She's very much like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
And she's very like shocked that it could have hurt someone's feelings. So that's just me like kind of
I think that goes towards your intentions as well, though.
Yeah, but that's why that's what like me and Nisrin for so long we were at loggerhead with this, like this whole intentions things, because it's never my intentions to hurt someone or to upset someone.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm such a confrontational person, because if I have said something or done something that you don't like, I would much prefer you just say it to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like I said, is it autism? Is it just me? Is it my personality? I say and do things that people might get offended by. And if they don't voice it to me, how am I going to learn? How am I going to know? Instead of like cutting me off and like, I don't know, do you get it? Like chatting crap about me, just come and say, look, Jay, I didn't like it when you did this, innit? Like, it upset me.
I hate that a lot. You know, like a lot of people they'll just go weird with you.
Yeah.
And then I'm the type of person like that type of stuff gives me anxiety because I overthink. So as soon as someone goes a little bit weird, I start thinking about everything. I'm like, oh. And then I'll tell them, I hate that. You know when you get like, they make you feel crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, something's up. You know something's up. And they're like, no, it's fine. Nothing's up. Okay, but you're acting like a whole different person. And it's like, that stresses me out so much.
It does, man. And it's a horrible feeling, especially when you don't understand. You just want to know, like, I just want to understand. You get it? So yeah, anyway. So I'm much better now, because one thing about me is I'm a massive advocate for mental health, and Nisra knows this. Like, I do diagnose a lot of people with a lot of things, but that's because I like to make excuses for people. Like, in terms of if someone does something, I'm like, maybe they're not well, maybe they don't understand, maybe. And then when someone does have a mental health like disorder or illness, I genuinely try so hard to just understand them.
You validate
feelings,
emotions and feelings very, very well, which is something that I respect, because I've also like it's kind of bad to say, but I'm not very good at that, and that's coming from someone who wants it to be done to myself. Do you get it? But I'll be like, oh, like, do you know what I mean? Whereas you're very much like, look, I understand what's going on. Let's just take a deep breath. This is what it is.
Yeah.
And, do you know what I mean? Which is really nice to be around. I'm not gonna lie, especially when you're as crazy as me.
Do you think that falls into the aspect of like in our DNA, it tells us to give people the benefit of the doubt with certain things?
No, I don't think it stems from the dean at all, because I'm a person who holds grudges, so I'm not one to sit here. Nisra knows I'm not one to sit here and be like, oh, you know, always give a person the benefit of the doubt, because I don't do that. But what I will do is,
you just say they're mentally unwell. And
no. Shall I tell you why? I feel like maybe because I expect that from people. I maybe expect people to make excuses for me.
Yeah.
And also throughout my whole life, I was kind of like, my mum, like, mashallah, would accommodate for me. So maybe that's why, like, in my subconscious. Giving people the benefit of the doubt, though,
in a sense of,
she is giving it, but what she means is she's not doing it for Islamic reasons, like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not holier than thou to sit here and be like,
doing
no,
it for like just
as in
I'm such a humane reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm doing it. Plus, I just like to understand. So I just want to know why someone done what they done.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, maybe they have this, and then I'll ask them like, do you have this? And if they're like, yeah, I'm like, all right, cool.
That's even worse if they don't.
Do you have autism?
No,
I
this
do
is
it
what's
all
been
the
happening
time.
to me.
I do it all the time.
You and my mum have been telling me that I have autism, but all the women in my family.
Whoa, slow down. We haven't been saying you have autism. We've been saying like maybe
you should look into
it because you display some signs of it.
Yeah, but this is what it is. Every woman in my family diagnoses everyone with any type of mental illness, but I think it's because they've done so much research on these things, and they see certain signs.
Like a spiral.
Yeah, but to me, everyone seems so sure when they're talking to me, like mum, especially Jay as well. You and my mum are like on the same level.
I'm
like,
not sure that you have it.
I don't think I do.
I'm just like, I think, I'm not sure.
I don't mind if I do. It's not like, oh my God, no. It's just, I think everyone's on the spectrum. Maybe there's certain traits that I have, but I don't know if it is something.
Do you know what I would say? Like, and the reason why I tell you maybe you do, maybe you should look into it is I see similar traits in you that I see in myself, and then I'm like, oh,
but
maybe
you haven't been diagnosed yet.
No,
we might both not have it.
But you know what I mean, though. Do you get it? Like, I see you do certain things, or you get upset about certain things that I get upset about, and I'm like, and I have to tell myself, you know, like, it's not something's wrong with me. I'm just different, a little bit different. I'm a bit diverse neurologically. Do you get it? And then maybe when you understand yourself a bit more, and like, let's say you do have autism and certain things like that trigger you, you can say to yourself, I'm triggered because of this and because of that. Then you can kind of like get better, work around it, because what happens is in life, and I've learned this the hard way, is if you don't label something, then people are going to think you're being difficult, you're being, do you know what I mean? You're being moody, you're being this, but it's not. It's just my boundary. I'm not happy. I don't like it, for example, if someone's late. I don't like, I hate it.
Yeah, I'm the same.
But it can, do you know what I mean? And it can come across like as me being moody, or me being picky, and me being bossy, but it's not. I can't help it.
You guys, I've noticed you guys both have a very similar trait where you need structure, and if there's a change in a plan, it will throw you off.
Yeah,
like both
I do. Like, for example, like even my friends sometimes they'll meet me late, and I have to force myself to get out of a mood. I'm like, I'm annoyed. It's not that deep, but I need to like push. So at the start, I'll be a bit like,
because you can't be mean to your friends.
Yeah, and I have to like force myself to be like, okay, no, it's good. I'm good now. But for me, I'm so like, I need to be on time. I'll get there 15 minutes. I don't care if I wait 30 minutes early just to know that I'm on time, because I don't like the idea of being late. And if I am late, I will be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm doing this and that.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
But that's what I'm saying.
Is that autism?
Same,
that's
guys,
what I'm saying.
I have that as well.
You're the opposite,
Nisrin
bro.
doesn't care. Do you know what? You're a bit like, we're on one extreme, you're on the other.
No, but that's
Nisrin
why
will turn up 5 hours late to her own birth.
I feel like that's why we bounce off each other, because I feel like our relationship would be almost similar to you lot's relationship, how you're so like opposites and then we're so opposites that we meet in the middle. Like,
but it does end with Jay very frustrated.
Yeah, but you're like, you're bad, Nisrin, I can't lie.
No,
Right.
I'm never.
Say something good about me.
No, I'm not frustrated. Like, for example, like, I feel like Nisrin has taught me to be a bit more patient, and I've taught Nisrin.
I've seen her being patient.
I know.
I've seen her in the moments where she's like, for example, I will open a window. Sorry, I just interrupted you. I'll open a cupboard, and this is just a thing.
I'm literally
that I
there,
have.
like.
I'll open cupboards, and my brain will be like, just forget the part where you need to close it. And also, guys, I know it sounds crazy. That is an ADHD like actual thing. If you look into it, it's like, yes, that's an ADHD thing.
Is the ADHD to also hit the mic every 2 seconds? You don't know it's right there.
Have you ever
She's
seen one of these?
like 10 times.
Have you ever seen
It's
one of
right
these?
in front of you.
Have you ever seen one of these? And so, yeah, and the other day, Jay was like,
No, you were telling a story.
I was doing something and I was telling a story, but obviously in the time that I was telling my story, I had left the cupboard open, and Jay, obviously she's very like structure, she needs things done a certain way. She was kind of like this, and she was pointing. She was pointing at the cupboard. She's like, yeah. So
Do you know why? Because I couldn't concentrate on Nisrin speaking until that wardrobe, the cupboard door was shut. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But then as well, like I think I've taught you also to kind of speed it up sometimes and like plan a bit more, because like, for example, I feel like you have got much better.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100%, bro. Bruv, when I met you, you didn't even have diagnosis.
Oh yeah, you did.
You was a mess.
I was a
You was a hot mess, bro.
Get a diagnosis.
I forced you.
Yeah, she was like, Nisrin, you need medication.
But do you see? Because I diagnosed you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
What would you do if like you went to do yours and they just said, no, you're perfectly fine, mate?
I would have to
Get a
sit
second
down.
opinion.
I'd have to sit down and just like say.
You have to internalize all the things where you're like,
Fam, I need to get a rocket
just
or sign
autism.
after that. Because I'm like, sign ain't right. Yeah, anyway, so depression, whatever, became anger. Anyway, I'm just going to speed up this bit. I know.
we're going to be
No, I'll speed it up. So anyway, whatever, must have had anger problems. Anyway, so fast forward to secondary school now, yeah? Another thing is I went to a private primary school, a Saudi private primary school, Arabic one. Okay.
Just flex on us.
In it.
An Arab one in Saudi, yeah. Private.
No, it was here, but it's a Saudi school.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah, it's called King Fahd. Shout out to King Fahd, innit? Sponsor me, huh? Anyway, and so obviously the Muslim world doesn't really know what autism is or anything anyway. So as a child, no one picked up on it, on anything, whether something was wrong with me. Not wrong, something was different or not. So then I went to a public primary school in year 4. By that time, everyone's kind of developed already, so they're not looking for signs anymore. Signs of being neurodivergent, I'm normally picked up between the ages of 4 and like 10. Mm-hmm. After that, you know, you've basically been through primary school, they would have picked up by then. So then got to secondary school. In secondary school, I was very naughty. Very, very naughty.
Was it you that told me you chucked a chair at a teacher?
No.
Oh.
I don't know why I thought that was.
I did chuck something, but no, that's coming. Wait, no, not a teacher. No, I didn't chuck anything at a teacher. Wait, let me tell the story, bro. Anyway, so I was very naughty, very late all the time, whatever, anger problems. People used to like try pick on me. I wasn't having it in it. I used to give it to them. And then one day I had a detention and I had to go pick up my art homework. Picked up my art homework. The teacher who was in the classroom at the time was... it wasn't her classroom in it. She was just doing a detention in there, and my friends were in the detention. So that's a recipe for disaster, because now I'm showing off.
Yeah.
So I was gassed. I was like, yeah, what? So I went in the classroom and I'm like, I need my artwork. And she's like, well, how can you prove to me that it's you? I said, what do you mean? We're in secondary school. I don't have an ID. Anyway, whatever.
You're not just going to go around taking people's art.
In it. Exactly. Art homework as well. Like, who wants to do someone else's homework? It's not an American movie.
That's so true.
Wallah.
I need to pick up the homework I need to do.
I just need to do someone's homework, anyone's homework. Honestly. And then, yeah, so we ended up getting into an altercation because I went to grab the homework and she must have tried dragging me from my bag. out of the classroom.
No, but Jay, wait, before you tell this story, innit, because we know that you like to exaggerate.
No,
remember
what?
with me?
She probably
You
accidentally
got me in a headlock.
No, wallah, this genuinely happened.
Guys, I'll explain the story later.
Bro, there's a crime reference number if you want it. This actually happened.
No, I'm joking, by the way.
Yeah,
guys,
wait.
I'll explain what I mean after she finishes the story. Go on.
Anyway, so yeah, she wants to try to drag me out of the classroom. I thought I was a bad man in it. I said, look, you've got 5 seconds to get off my bag. She said, you can't count me down. I said, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God.
And I don't know where I learned this move, honestly. I did some taekwondo business. So I must have got my bag like that, and she's grabbed my bag, and so I got this hand, and I must have smacked it down.
Dropped it.
Yeah, literally, I chopped her hand, and she let go, yeah? Anyway, go home now, come back, next day in school, they're like, oh, from the gate. They're waiting for me at the gate.
I was waiting for you at the door.
You musty. Anyway, I'm at the gate and they're like, Miss Ghazali, we need to take you to speak to you. And I was like, okay, this is a bit weird. So I went and they were like, okay. And I was on red report already because of how naughty I was. So then they took me in the room. They were like, you assaulted the teacher. She's called the police. She's going to press charges. I said, what? And then I was like, she assaulted me. She tried to drag me out the classroom. Like, you can't do that. It's illegal. They were like, yeah, well, she came to us first. So we obviously have to believe her story. But we are going to investigate. So I was like, cool. They were like, in the meantime, because basically you're a threat to all the other students, you're going to stay in SSC. SSC was a student support centre, which was just naughty kids and like misunderstood children and stuff. So I was in there every day. I was isolated. Wallah, it's so sad. I was isolated every day and I wasn't given any help or nothing. And
How long for?
3 months.
Oh,
What?
And now I know I'm dyslexic, so imagine I was like struggling. Wallah, it's so sad.
So sad.
I know, I was like, and all because I was just a misunderstood child. And
I realised why you and Nishan's are friends though.
Why?
You got everything under the book. You're dyslexic. You got autism. Nishan's got all
Not
this
very
stuff.
nice.
No, we're just self-aware.
So
unlike
do you.
some.
So do you. You're just not.
Yeah,
like,
I'm saying that. You actually haven't accepted it yet.
Yeah, we have just accepted it.
I might have dyslexia
Anyway,
as well.
the story gets more
You're
inspiring.
finally opening up and accepting things. Can I tell you more things that's wrong with you now?
No.
No, joking.
Bloody hell, got a list. Anyway, so then. And bear in mind, yeah, I always used to fight with my English teacher, like argue with her.
It's because
No,
you're dyslexic.
exactly.
You're the hardest.
No, wallah. I was about to say that.
I hate you.
No, I was about to say that. Wallah, like, do you know why? She'd make me read out loud. Obviously, you know how the teacher
Oh
makes
my
you.
God, don't even start
and
me with
I
that.
can't because I got social anxiety, and also on top of that, I can't read.
You do it the
You do the
exact
same.
same.
Keep
Keep laughing. You know why?
I'm
You know what they
sorry.
say in Morocco?
No, he's laughing because he's the exact. Is that
Really?
why you're laughing,
No,
right?
I'm laughing because
We
yeah.
spoke about this.
Yes, that's why
that
I'm
wasn't
laughing.
why. That
Yeah,
was,
that's why I'm laughing. But I actually do also have that as well. Do you know what I used to try to do? I used to try because they'd go around and people would pick.
Measure out.
I'd like read where it's coming next, and I'd read it in advance, and then put my hand up on purpose so that I could read that bit, and I'd still mess it up.
Oh,
Sure,
hey,
Like I
that's
already
so
would I.
prepared myself, and then
So
I'd
would
mess it
I.
up.
And then you know what's
so
worse?
sad.
Your peers bully you. So
I used
then
to be
people will be
like,
like, "Oh, bruv, come on, man, can you not read?" And I'm like, "Nah, see now I got to fight someone because how you disrespecting me like that?" And then I'd be like, "Shut up!" And then the teacher would be like, "Get out." And I'm like,
Oh,
"All right,
stress.
do you get it?" So
Yeah.
anyway, whatever. Got kicked out of school. Went to a SCN school actually. Interesting enough, it was a pupil referral unit.
wait. Sorry to interrupt you, Jay, but I feel like I have to explain that story before we move on. What I meant because it was like an inside joke. So guys,
forgot already
earlier,
what you said.
I said to Jay, you sure you're not just exaggerating? I'm not just being mean to my friend. What I mean is, this is a quick side story. You're gonna laugh, yeah. One time, me and Jay were on live, yeah, and I must have like put my arm around her,
She
her shoulder.
She
yeah?
picks on me.
No, listen, I put my arm around her shoulder, I'm just messing around playing, and then Jay started going, she was like, listen, what are you doing? You just got me in a headlock and dragged me. And obviously my memory's bad. So for about 10 minutes, we were arguing about what happened. And I was like, damn, did that actually happen? She's like, yeah, you got me in a headlock and you dragged me. And I remembered that I could rewatch the live.
She replayed it.
I replayed it.
Which one of this?
She literally went like that. No, she must have pushed me that. She just did something like this, like literally like that. But to me, it felt like I was getting dragged and beaten up. Anyway, so then
Can I make one more point? Sorry.
this is where it gets inspiring. Oh, okay, go on.
Sorry. Because I was like making a joke of saying, you have everything under the sun, and then Nishan has the same thing, those things. But do you think those, like having autism, can have all those other things under that umbrella that fit into it?
Of course.
Is that why it seems like
Of
you
course.
would have so many things, but it's all comes together to create one thing?
Of course, and you don't know this because obviously, you know, your brother's got autism, and there are parts, like for example, dyspraxia, dyslexia, that fall under because your brain is different.
Okay, that makes
See,
sense.
you're not with autism and neurodiversity. You don't have less than. You have different too. That's why it's called neurodiversity. For example, people with autism have photographic memory. Do you understand? And that's not normal, but it's because they're different. Do you understand? So it's almost like a blessing. You've got something that nobody else has got. Do you understand? But at the same time, you might be slower socially. Do you get it?
Do you know what? I think I have like a tiny bit of photographic memory. You know, like sometimes when I did my theory test for driving, I failed it the first time. I failed it twice. Yeah. And on the third time I got it. And the third time I got it because I read the whole book.
Same.
I read the whole book. And then when I was in the test, as soon as it come up, wallah, I could picture the exact paragraph and I would read it in my head what the paragraph said and I was writing it down.
We've lived the same life.
No, are you serious?
Wallah.
That's
I had
mad.
the app and I would literally look at where the question box was and what the answer was, and I'd look at keywords. And Nisra knows I have a photographic memory. Like she could say, "Oh Jay, have you seen my bag?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go
She
to
goes
the."
like this. She goes, "It's under."
I'm like, "Go to
and
the."
I'm like,
Yeah,
how
I'm
did
like,
you know it's my
No,
house.
she's just secretly hiding things. And then when you ask for them, I think if you go into the kitchen on the fourth drawer.
Shut up, man. No, I'm literally like, go to the third wardrobe, second thing down. Wait, check behind that thing. And then she's like, how the hell did you know that? I'm like, I genuinely don't know.
I've heard you guys talk about this before, so
Yeah, it's like scary. But anyway, so got kicked out of school, whatever. I went SEN school and then got into a lot of fights there, man. Boy.
Jay's like, yeah, I've had a few
Nah, that
fights.
was,
So what,
it
you
was
fighting men or women?
bad. Everyone and anyone, man.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it is, yeah. I told you, innit, I was sad and then I was violent, man. I was violent. Like, I bumped into a girl in H&M the other day, yeah. Do you remember the day I went H&M? And she was like, oh my God, we went to school together, I remember you. And I said, oh my God, what do you know? She goes, yeah, man, you was not all right. I was like, I know. I said, I've changed. And even like my friends from school, they look at me and they're like, oh, you know, you've changed a lot. And I'm like, I know. Because now, like, do you know what I mean? Those hormones, and subhanAllah, those hormones have actually changed into anxiety.
You know what's insane, which I was going to say, is it's kind of upsetting and disheartening when and I feel like a lot of people do this, where you work a certain way for so many years and you work so hard to get out of that, but then people still associate you with the person you were, even at school or whatever, which I feel like I was meant to speak to you about, I'm not going to lie, privately.
I was going to say it right now. I was literally going to admit to it. I feel like naturally, and I have to force myself not to, I still associate you with the Nishan that I grew up with.
Yeah, and
but I will say you have changed a lot.
Oh, guys,
yeah,
it's
no,
getting
but
juicy.
this is the thing that I was actually going to have a private conversation with you about, because
Fight.
no, 'cause I will.
No, I'm joking. What?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes I feel like you treat me as if like I'm that little loud girl that used to go around college saying I'm prettier than everyone.
Yeah, no,
a
listen,
joke.
I'm not lying to you.
She still does that, by the way.
It's only recently that I've had to, what am I saying? It's only recently that I've noticed that you changed. Do you remember, like, sometimes I'd tell you, oh, when we go here,
He'd be like,
this.
Nisrin, when we go out, can you please just don't, or like he'll be like, don't be confrontational with someone, because I used to be confrontational.
Yeah, but then Nisrin's like not like that at all anymore. If anything, you're more like, you're
I'm a
the opposite
people-
of that now.
mellowed down.
What did you call me today? What did you say? I was a people pleaser.
No, I said
Yeah.
you're a pushover.
Pushover,
Yeah,
that's it.
when you never used to be like that. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to get rid of that though, because it's so ingrained, Nisrin. The amount of arguments and fights I had in college because of
I used to be
Nisrin.
very confrontational, and the way you described was me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I had the fighting stage, the confrontational stage, and now
even though I was explaining, even sometimes explaining to people, I don't know if you're still this person, but that's how I explain to my friends. Nisrin's the type of person, if she'll just punch you in the face if she gets no. But I don't know if you're that person anymore.
No, you know, I'm literally.
Yeah, you've changed so much.
First of all, I've never just punched someone.
No, but you're not. You're so.
Innit? Just walk up to them, boom.
If you argue with someone and they start giving it to you like they want to do something, you wouldn't hesitate to fight.
No,
them.
look, I've had about 3 fights in my life.
Yeah.
Damn, is that it?
Yeah, I've had about 3 fights in my life.
That's her on a normal Monday back in school.
I'm like,
No, I've literally.
that's me before lunch.
But I was more of a sort of person that would be like, I would use my
Verbal,
words.
yeah.
I wasn't really I've only had and I was younger. I must have been like 15 or 14 when I had those fights. But I'm sort of the person now where I literally get anxiety to be like, oh, can you put the heating up in the Uber? Like,
Yeah.
I literally have to look at Jay and I'm like, Jay, it's really cold. Can you tell him to put the window up? Like, that's the sort of person I am now. So that's why it's very disheartening and upsetting when you are like, Nisrin, please don't like be loud or Nisrin.
But that's
You know
my
what I mean?
trauma. You see how that's my trauma? So you can't get that angry at me.
No,
for
I'm
that.
not angry.
You have to accept me for my trauma, okay?
Do I get angry?
No,
at
you don't.
I just deal with it.
No,
and
I understand.
I just
But it is
let you
genuinely-
walk over me,
No,
like
you
Jay
don't.
say,
God
and I
damn.
deal with it when I get home.
No, that is genuinely trauma for me because it was something that I used to always have to deal with.
I was very loud.
Like an issue, or I come into the refectory and this one's saying some crazy stuff out loud to everyone with her chest, like, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
I was a bit of attention.
And then a
seeker.
guy
No,
would tell,
you
and then a
wasn't.
guy
I'll
would
tell
tell
you
her to
what
shut up, and she'd come up to me. Hey, some guy told me to shut up, and I had to go threaten him.
Or you know those girls that are like, what? My man will deal with it. Just to do it. My brother's coming right now, and you're like, oh.
The amount of times I started with
Leave me
someone, and I
alone.
don't even know why they like took me serious, like as if I was going to be able to do anything. A lot of them were like bigger than me because back then.
You having a growth spurt.
Yeah, so back then I was a bit smaller. I used to be like, wallah, one time I threatened this guy who was probably like, he was so much taller and bigger than me, and I told him I was going to beat him up and then beat his dad up in front of him.
God,
and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I won't do anything ever again. And I just kept getting more confident because he was
You're like, yeah, what?
So I
Yeah,
come to
what?
your house as well.
You know when you walk around going, yeah, what? I told him,
Yeah,
man. I showed him, innit? He ain't going to mess with
All
you
you had
again.
to do was push me, and I would have been like, do you know what, mate? Say what you want to.
Do you know what? Beat her up for me. Slap her as
I'll
well.
go to Nisrin. How dare you? Leave him alone.
Oh,
No, I'm
speaking
joking.
of which, I don't know if we've ever discussed this, and I don't know if I've ever told you, but do you remember in Morocco when we went to school in Morocco? Did you know we went to school in Morocco?
I don't think so, no.
We were there for like 6 months.
Yeah, we
I
went
know that you were there for a while.
Yeah, we went. No, I think it was about 8 months. But we went to school in Morocco, and then I think we've told.
We might have told it.
We
can
mentioned
say
it, but one time I don't really remember. I have a smallest memory of it, but I think it might be
Do
from
you know what?
describing it.
I don't want to say the story because I realised that kid might be unwell. And
Oh
what I
my
did
God.
was so bad. So basically, forgive me if you're ever seeing this. You're probably not.
He doesn't. He
But-
probably doesn't speak English.
And guys, I was a kid
Wow.
as well. I was a kid as well. So I was a kid as
He
well.
might speak English.
It was in
He might.
Morocco.
I said he probably doesn't because it's in Morocco.
Guys, I was a kid as well, so I didn't understand that this could have been an issue.
We
To
were
me,
like-
he was just being annoying.
we were like 4.
Why are you
explaining
shouting?
because
yourself?
literally,
Why are you shouting?
Sorry.
we were sitting like, you know, in them schools, they'd have like a bench. It was like a bench and your school table. I'm sitting here, and Nishan's there, and then there's a kid on her right, and he keeps going in her ear, but I know he's okay because he talks normally with all
Yeah,
of us.
yeah.
Like it wasn't just a different kid that was doing that.
Yeah.
He has. So it was like he was doing it intentionally,
Picking on her, annoying her.
And then so Nishan goes to me like, without telling me that he was doing that. Oh, hey, do you want to swap seats with me? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll swap seats. And he started doing it to me, and I kept telling him to stop, and he wouldn't. So I punched him in his face, and then the teacher got me up in class and in front of everyone, like, you know, the wooden rulers. Put my hand
Put your
down,
hand.
and I was like,
Child abuse.
Ooh,
in
it just gave me
schools.
shivers. That gave me like a flashback of being in Arabic school. My
yeah.
God.
But yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
No. It's all right. The story's very long.
she's still on 2 years old.
No, I'm not. I'm not actually. What was I going to say before?
So you were saying how you bumped into some. How do I remember?
Yeah.
Innit?
You were bumped into someone from school.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
you're right.
Babe.
I feel like, no, what I was going to say is, I feel like with you, Nisrin, and what we had in common is we were troubled, very misunderstood. And what people call naughty sometimes is not naughty. It's just a child doesn't know how to, think properly, and wasn't like, for example, like looking back now, all of that anger was, like I said, I didn't know what emotions go with what. Do you know what I mean? And only now, as an adult, I'm starting to learn more about myself, and I'm starting to like research and experience and speak to
Self-development.
people. Yeah, and speak to people. And I'm like, okay. Like I've had to literally, wallah, sit myself down and say, this is when we feel sad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now we cry.
Yeah.
And then I cry and I'm like, now we're fine.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Instead of like calling someone like,
But that's the way you cope.
like, do you remember the other day I got triggered and I said to you, like, this is why I don't get involved in drama, because I don't know how to
Yeah.
not be triggered anymore. Like, I will
She's
literally...
like, listen, I don't do drama. I just fight. You don't
Yeah, I
get
said-
it. I was like, Jay, look, calm
Wallah,
down.
I said to her, like, no, I just got to beat her up. And then she was like, no, you don't need to, you don't need to do anything. Just calm down. I said, I don't know how. That's my first response, is beat someone up. Fight them. What? You got beef? Come on then. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, like, I'm like, no, you can't. You have to think like this. You can, like, betrayal is not, like, betrayal doesn't mean anger. Do you get it? For example, just because someone betrayed you, or just because someone did you wrong, doesn't mean you have a right to beat them up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or cuss them out or anything. No, anyway, cool. So then this is where the story gets inspirational, because I flipped it. I did the Uno reverse card on the system. One thing I will say is the fact that I didn't get like a diagnosis when I was younger, because by the way, the school asked to statement me, which means to give an official diagnosis when I was in primary school. But my mum was like, no, like, I don't think anything's wrong with her, and I don't want her to be labelled or whatever. So the only good thing I would say with that is it good or is it bad? I don't know. that I learnt to mask and I learnt social skills and I learnt to override myself. And the only thing I don't, like now as an adult, the only thing that I don't compromise on is my personal space and my stuff. Oh my God, Nisrin knows how, like, I am passionate about people touching my stuff. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah, so it's Ayub. Ayub looked at me straight away like this.
And I looked at her.
And he looked at me. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Ayub, like,
Yeah. I'm getting better, but
we're very similar.
I had to like force myself
Yeah.
out of those, which is kind of like what you're
That's
saying.
what I'm trying
actually.
to do now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like I have to like, now if someone's touching my stuff, instead of like panicking straight away, I do internalize it's happening, but I'm just like, okay.
It's
I'm
funny
okay.
because
Same.
and that's why I say me and you are literally opposites, which is funny that we're friends because we're literally opposites.
Opposites attract.
I'm like, come into my house, touch what you want, do what you want, rearrange everything if you want. Just don't ask me. Like, don't come up to me and be like, can I have this? Can I have it?
And I do that all the time.
I have to use my brain and like, do you get it? Just do whatever. I don't care. But like, I feel like you two are the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to film myself putting
But
something.
you're used to that because you've been around me.
maybe.
No, I'm just like that in general, and with her.
No, I'm saying like
No,
you're.
she
No, you
doesn't
get
do it
along
with
with
me.
her.
She doesn't really do it with me.
Oh, okay.
She does. You do it worse, and she doesn't really do it.
Yeah,
with me
I
at
don't.
all. I think, and I can
Should
see
I tell
when
you why?
she's struggling.
No, I'll
sometimes
tell
she's
you why though, because I feel like with me and you, it's like I know like if you broke something, you'd replace it. If you know what I mean? You know the value of certain things that I have because we have very similar stuff. Do you get it? In terms of like makeup, maybe even cups in the kitchen, like random things. Like I know that if you was to break something, you'd be like, look, Jay, I'll get you another one. Do you get it? Whereas like other people might not be able to do that. So then it upsets me because I'm like, if you do break that, I'm gonna have to go and get another one. Why would you do that? And I feel like you know like how I feel about putting things back, and you do put things back exactly where they go.
I didn't. But
and
I
there's
feel
a
like
place
I
for
worked on
everything.
that.
Yeah, 100%. Like when we were in Morocco, my God, we were like chalk and cheese.
We kind of, and the podcast, if you've watched every episode or a lot of our episodes, then you'll know that we kind of stopped speaking for like 2-3 months, and that was after Morocco. So I feel like we were like head to head for so long, and we both were like in our own ways. And I think but a lot of people were confused because usually when people stop being friends or whatever, they're like kind of like there's a lot of animosity
Sour.
there. And I was just like, people would ask about you, like, guys, I have nothing bad to say about her.
100%.
Like, you're not gonna get me to say anything bad about her. She's a good friend. And people were so confused that Jay,
They just wanted
our
the juicy
search
gossip.
bars on comments, you know when it says recently searched for 2-3
Nisrin
months, Nisrin J.Ghaz beef
Beef.
Juwayria on both
People
of our
were searching
videos.
it.
So obsessed, literally.
They wanted drama so bad.
And then we bumped into each other in an event, actually. Interesting. And then we had a conversation about boundaries. So we drove around. Do you remember when you were driving and we spoke? And we had to set our boundaries for each other. And then she was like, I don't like when you do this. And I was like, all right, cool. I don't like it when you do that. All right, cool. And then since then, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. Please, guys, wallahi, don't start eyeing us. I will help you find a friend. Don't worry. Listen, you don't want to see behind the scenes. Anyway, since then, we've...
Shut up, it's even better behind the scenes.
Shh, don't tell them.
No, but
now we're going to get in an argument
I
tomorrow.
think that's a real mature adult
Master.
friendship.
Yeah.
Like that you're both willing to.
We're grown.
Yeah. To how can we improve our friendship? There's some people will get to that stage where they didn't talk about that things annoyed them, and then they let it end forever. Now we don't have a friendship. When you could have just passed that barrier, spoke about how you're feeling, and communicate, which is such an important thing in any type of relationship. And you guys haven't.
I think that should have happened in the first place. I don't think we should have stopped speaking. But I think it was a thing where if you know me as a person, I'm very much like, if something isn't like making me feel good, which maybe I had certain emotions and they weren't good ones, I am very known to just run away from it and just literally drop it and run away and just not think about it. Even now, like you lot will try to speak to me about stuff and I'll be like, I don't want to speak about it, I don't want to think about it. So that was the case with that. But that's why I feel like in that situation, I shouldn't have done that. Like I shouldn't.
I think the break was good.
No, it was,
because
it was I'm like, no, you're right. It was good. Yeah, what do you mean?
no, hear me out though. Where
I actually enjoyed the break. I don't even know why we came back.
No, I'm not saying I enjoyed it. I'm saying
it was needed. It's not that it was good. It was needed.
It was like a refresh because I feel like where we met, obviously, without going into things like, you know, your life was very tough. Do you know what I mean? No, I was gonna say difficult and tough at the same time. It was tough, and I met you in a time where like I took on a lot on my shoulders, and obviously I will still do that now. You're my best friend and that. But then that time that we had apart, like, distance makes the heart.
No, let me say.
I never said, let me speak.
I needed my annual
leave. Let me speak, innit? I clocked out for 2 months. No. They say distance makes the heart grow fonder. And sometimes when I wasn't friends with you, then I'd be like, oh, like Nisreen, oh, cute.
That's so
cute. And then I know you was doing the same. I know you're obsessed with me. Anyway.
So guys, we just realized that it's been like an hour of filming and we had so much more that we wanted to speak about, but what we've decided to do is just have a part 2. So that's going to give you guys the opportunity to comment down below any questions that you do have for Juwayria and us, and anything for the next episode. If you guys comment them down below, then we can get Jay to spend some time answering you guys' questions too. So we will go into the Draw My Life, and
that's so funny. We stayed on Draw My Life and we got to secondary school.
Yeah.
So the next episode,
we passed secondary school. We haven't got to college.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
The
when my
next
life got like turned upside down.
Oh, cliffhanger. So next episode,
It only gets more interesting, I promise you that.
It really does.
we will do a part 2, and also we can go into like having discussions about certain things, and but for now, since we were on a topic of our friendship, I think what was really interesting was because I do know that you are a bit of I don't know how to explain this, but I know that bloody
Alright, spit it out.
You know when she confronts me, it's the funniest shit. Jay, look.
Does that mean this is what you're talking about? Pushovers. I'm just too scared.
No,
to say
she goes,
it.
Jay, look, please just don't get upset yet. I just really, really want to talk to you about something. But Jay, like, her voice starts changing. I'm like, what? Spit? And I start getting nervous, innit? Ask her, I'm like, huh? What? I'm like, what did I do? Did I do something?
No, what I mean is this. I don't know how you are. I'm not scared of you. I will put you in a headlock.
Again.
So I don't know how you are when friendships end, even though ours didn't end the way maybe your other friendships would have ended, like by someone snaking someone or this and that. It was just like misunderstandings and like needing to set boundaries. I didn't know whether, because we were both going to the same event and I knew you were going to be there because I was told, and I didn't know whether you were going to see me and kind of be like give me dirties or like completely ignore me. So when I saw you, I think it was a case of you were walking towards me.
You were in a conversation.
I was in a conversation. I saw you and you were walking towards me, and in my head I was like, is she just going to walk straight past me?
Or is she going to walk past and
just drag her. Come here, you.
By the way, okay, let me just touch on the subject of, I might be a pushover, but I'll still throw hands.
Obviously.
No, I know you will.
Like, just
you're not going to just sit there like, oh, please.
I didn't believe any of that stuff about you being in change room. I know it's all a front.
Genuinely, I'm a pushover when it comes to emotions, but when it comes to like, anyway.
Yeah.
So what happened? I don't remember exactly.
You want to know
what
my
happened.
thought process? Okay, so I was at the top of the stairs, this was at the bottom of the stairs, and that event was so overwhelming, man.
Yeah.
It was like black, like pitch black, and then like lights and like dancing, and it was a TikTok end of year party. No.
It basically was a club.
Yeah, I know, but I know,
No.
It wasn't. It was an event.
We were invited to the TikTok end of year party. We didn't know it was.
So we were like, it's our job, innit? We have to kind of.
Oh, okay.
We didn't know what it was like.
No,
Shush, man.
It wasn't
we
like
ended
that.
up. Funny thing is, we ended up leaving together like an hour after.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was very overwhelming. So I was walking in and out of the event, and I just didn't feel comfortable, and then I like locked eyes with Nisreen. She was at the bottom of the stairs. Then I had to tell myself. And she looked at me. And then I was like, okay, what do I do in this situation? And then I was like, you know what? One thing about me, boy, I don't know if I'm psychotic or if I'm confident, but I just went in thinking, I just genuinely don't care. Whatever she does is what?
Yeah,
you get it?
Yeah.
If she says to me, don't chat to me, then what? I'm going to say, all right, flipping bun you then, innit? But then if she does speak to me, but I know Nisreen, innit? And I knew she wasn't going to like be like, what? So then I was like, all right, you know what? Let bygones be bygones, man.
We went up to each other and I think we were just like...
Yeah, no, I was like, hi, you all right? And she goes, yeah, I'm all right. And then we leaned in for a hug.
I didn't cry, okay?
And then I said to her, can I speak to you? And then we went, do you remember that's when we went outside?
We wasn't even in that party.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, we were just speaking the whole time. And we were like, should we go? We're like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. We had a little conversation and then we were like, yeah. And she was like, oh, I'm leaving. Like, I'm going to go. Like, do you want to come? And I was like, yeah. And then so we went out, whatever. And then, yeah, that's what we did.
But I think I spoke about it on the podcast anyway. I remember coming back and being like, oh, I saw Jay, it was really nice. Which is so like interesting that we have these like little vlogs. It's not vlogs, it's like we're documenting our life. Because you could go back to the episode where I was like, oh, I saw Juwayria and it was really nice.
Okay, yeah, that's actually so true. Yeah, that's wicked.
But yeah,
last thing I do want to say is like I feel like it's nice to have a Moroccan friend. Yeah. And I feel like it's probably the same for you because I don't think you've ever had Moroccan friends, but from the same city. Like
that is one thing I wanted to actually go into in the next episode. Is talk about like, because it's different for us compared to you. Like, did you grow up with around Moroccans? And we didn't. We grew up in like a proper English type environment, I would say.
That's why I say a lot, and you know this already. Like, I feel like I was more in touch with my friends' cultures, like the Asian culture, than my own culture growing up. So that's why me and you have like very different like upbringings.
But saying that, I'm very British as well because my mum's British, and like obviously we've got very British values, but it all goes back to Moroccan in the end. I did grow up with Moroccans. Like obviously I'm going to speed through this, but
save it for the next episode.
Yeah, let's just save it. I do want to say though, guys, yesterday I bought myself a prayer mat, and Nisra got upset because she said that why did I let her buy me a prayer mat? And I just thought, oh, cute friends.
I was like, what kind of psychopath buys their own prayer mat? I could have bought it for you and I could have been taking good deeds every time you pray. And I looked at her like, how dare you?
She goes, you're selfish. I was like, oh, she goes, let me have that one and you get the other and I'll get you one. And I was like, it was
life
cute.
hack, guys. Buy your friends prayer mats. You ain't going to get a lot of good deeds from me.
That's what...
Hey, laugh at my joke.
Sorry.
Oh, you're not going to get it.
Validated now.
She is a good friend. In like Mecca, when you go to do Umrah and stuff like that, they tell you buy Qur'ans and like leave them at the masjid, so like when people read from him, you'll take good deeds from them.
Yeah,
that's cute.
But yeah, guys, we need to do the iPad giveaway, but I said we do it in the next episode.
I said
we're gonna keep doing this every episode. It's gonna be a year. We're giving away an iPad.
Guys, there's no iPad.
no. Next episode we're definitely doing it. It's literally been in my notes, like every time we come to film.
But do you know what's funny now? Because in the last episode we spoke about how in the last episode we did an iPad giveaway, and then loads of people went back that I probably knew and said the word. So if you're watching
the next episode, we're 100% going to pick the winner, and they don't even need to enter again because we've made.
But can't you
not entering again?
Can't you check the time, like the date?
As in, like you don't need to enter again in this video. We're gonna pick the winners from the people who have entered. But I don't have socks on, so if you guys.
How do you not want to wrap it up?
Jay, where can they find you?
J.Ghaz on all platforms except for Twitter because I'm not on there. Sorry.
And this is where can
I was never on there.
Don't do it.
And Nisrin, where can they find you?
You can find me at
Whoa.
You can find me smiling on my pillow. You can find me at It's Nisrin on Instagram and TikTok.
You can find me at Kola Kasha on all social media platforms. Don't forget to follow Sadly Relatable Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Guys, we love you lot so much. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And we'll be back with a part 2 with Jay, who's been a wonderful guest.
And thank you for being here, Jay.
Yeah,
thank you so very much.
Very good energy. It's a pleasure to have you here. Inshallah, I look forward to having you here again. And guys, you know what to do. I've got a vlog coming out every Monday. You better check it out. And we'll see you next week, inshallah. Peace.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Bye.